Hello again, Microsoft Sam here. Today, I'm here to talk about one of the most infamous social engineering attacks that I have encountered, ClickFix, why it's extremely dangerous for your computer, and how to avoid that from happening, so that way you wouldn't make the same mistake I had. Without further ado, let's get straight to how I first encountered that dangerous scam. 4 days ago, just after I got finished making my second episode of me reading sideline errors, I was currently checking on my messages from Discord, as well as checking on my emails, account security, etc. However, as I was checking for any updates for any of the nearest anime conventions to me, I was about to look up on a convention that's most accessible to me, Anime Wonder, which takes place in Ridgefield just off of I-5 interstate from where I live. As soon as I got onto Anime Wonder's website, a random Cloudflare security prompt has popped up and is asking me to verify if I'm human, in which it'll give me a set of instructions to open up Windows Runny and run a PowerShell command. This is the point where a lot of red flags start to show themselves, where I should have spotted them in the first place, and to be very honest, real Cloudflare prompts would never resort to such methods for verification like that, as that's absolutely bullshit. It's a classic example of what's called a ClickFix attack, and what it does is it tricks users into thinking they need to verify something to gain access to whatever website they are trying to visit, except that quote-unquote verification process actually runs malicious PowerShell commands the user unknowingly accepted. The worst part? Such commands would not trigger any antivirus warnings, as that action has been done by the user. In my case however, as I was fooled into thinking I had to complete my verification process in order to view the Anime Wonder website, since Windows security was smart enough to detect such malware, it was able to quarantine that command from going through, but by then it was already too late. After I removed that threat that Windows security quarantined, my first order of business is to perform a full scan of my machine to make sure nothing else got through. For some reason, my machine came off clean, though I still have doubts about it, as soon as I get back onto Discord letting my friends know what happened before getting started in new droids, weird behaviors started happening, including various unwanted additions and puppies I did not recall adding, and a completely random passkey prompt that occurred when Chrome crashed behind my back. This really got me worried to the point my computer really did get infected after a ClickFix incident, which further confirmed my fears when I then started to use Photoshop. Immediately, when I got started drawing yellow Y, the Alt key, which I used to resize images from their center, just simply didn't work, which forced me to use the Control and Shift keys, neither of which worked either. That kind of issue I was experiencing is likely caused by some sort of keylogger that's interfering with my modifier keys, but I'll explain about that later. Desperate to find out if my computer really was clean, I quickly went ahead and proceeded to get myself Malwarebytes, which is a well-known antivirus service that is a go-to choice for people who really wanted to keep their computers and their online activities safe. After downloading Malwarebytes and buying an annual plus plan that includes a VPN, I immediately went ahead and performed a second full scan of my computer. Disappointingly so, my computer came off clean from that scan as well, which still did not fix my modifier key issue I'm having with Photoshop. Normally I don't trust AI-generated content, as that's basically a textbook case of AI slop, but there may be times where AI chatbots can sometimes help the user with their problems. Using Venice AI, I explained everything to it about how I encountered a ClickFix scam, how Windows security intercepted the threat when it got through, did a full scan of my computer, weird behaviors started happening after my computer came off quote-unquote clean, and how Photoshop is acting weird all of a sudden when I tried to use it. After becoming more specific about it to the point my priorities shifted to getting Photoshop fixed, I tried all the methods such as resetting and deleting preference files, checking for any GPU conflicts and compatibility, floating and reconsolidating all windows, changing some of the settings, uninstalling Malwarebytes under assumption it's conflicting with key shortcuts, and even completely reinstalling Photoshop. None of the methods worked, and all of my modifier keys are still borked when I try to use Photoshop. But after looking deeper into this issue by opening up Task Manager, as I looked closely, I noticed unusual Python scripts running background processes, which gives me an important clue why Photoshop isn't working for me properly. After talking with Venice a little more, the culprit for my issues with Photoshop has now narrowed down to malicious Python scripts running in the background, which then prompts me to open up Command Prompt, where I followed the instructions to remove such scripts. I was able to remove all but one of the Python scripts, which was thanks to Venice also suggesting me to download Process Explorer and Opening Task Scheduler, which gave me more resources to deal with those Python scripts more directly and allowing me to delete them. After doing so, I have then discovered something really horrifying, which turns out to be a rootkit level infection, complete with a keylogger that borked my Photoshop. Essentially, as soon as I verified myself to ClickFix and Windows Security quarantined it, its secondary payload managed to get through undetected, which allowed that scam to install a rootkit and keylogger into my machine, which then caused those Python scripts to start running and fucking up how my Photoshop works. Since rootkits infect machines at the kernel level, I'm not able to completely eradicate that infection entirely, as, when I kill that Python script fucking up Photoshop, a new one takes its place and the problem persists unabated. Since there's nothing further I can do to delete this, I had no other choice but to perform a hard reset of my machine where Windows 11 had to be reinstalled with factory settings, and that kind of action is only done as a last resort. Since rootkits are impossible to remove without specialist antivirus software, a complete wipe of my computer was perhaps my only way to get rid of that infection for good, as well as eliminating all remaining remnants related to that ClickFix scam. A hard pill to swallow, but I will not allow my computer being left with a rootkit that only fucks up my copy of Photoshop, a legitimate one mind you. The good news, all of my art stuff, sound effects and the video files I backed up are all in my external drive, meaning I was able to continue what I was doing even after Windows 11 got reinstalled and had to download all of my programs I previously had again, as well as remove any remaining puppies in my Google account. Actually, after Windows 11 got reinstalled, my first order of business was to run Task Manager to see if no more Python scripts remain. Lo and behold, none of the Python scripts remained, along with any malicious files deep inside my computer, indicating the rootkit was now finally removed. After downloading Photoshop again in the new install, the Alt, Control and Shift keys are working properly again, as they should be, thus putting an end to my harrowing saga where that ClickFix scam installed a rootkit that bypassed both full scans and fucked up how Photoshop works. So guys, now you know why you should always be very careful about the cyber dangers roaming around in the internet, especially when it comes to ClickFix scams that pose themselves as Cloudflare security prompts that trick you into running malicious PowerShell commands in order to quote-unquote verify a supposed error, only to have malware that installs a rootkit and keylogger into your machine even as Windows security has intercepted that scam. Though Google has simply given me a passkey to ensure my account safety, I was really surprised that I wasn't fully hacked yet and only borked some of my programs like Photoshop. Oh, now it does mean I'm gonna have to do a hard reset which reinstalled Windows 11 as a clean slate, which afterwards all those malicious files are completely gone. My best word of advice is, if you ever encounter a ClickFix scam in the wild, while surfing the internet, and poses itself as a Cloudflare security prompt that asks you to open Windows Run for verification, stop. Just stop what you're doing. That's like asking yourself to get hacked, as those assholes in the internet will do anything to lure victims into doing something that'll put their accounts, or entire computers, into serious jeopardy, because they are likely too busy panicking to notice something was very suspicious. That's how social engineering attacks work, and it represents an epitome of how much malware has become catastrophically manipulative and insidious to the point they border on becoming cyber weapons themselves. I really hope that anyone should understand that ClickFix attacks are no joke, and will give you rootkits and keyloggers if you give in to their manipulative demands. So, if you see one, avoid those immediately, so that way you wouldn't make the same mistake that I have. Well, that's all what I have time for today. To be very honest, a ClickFix scam forcing me to do a hard reset in my computer is just not fun, and it's really annoying that I had to download my programs all over again to get back what I was doing before that ClickFix bullshit happened. Again, if you want to protect yourself from a ClickFix scam giving you rootkits and keyloggers by simply running a malicious PowerShell command it's mysteriously copied to your clipboard, avoid that at all costs, as that forces you to do a hard reset on your computer if you fall for this type of scam. As an additional measure to protect yourself, I strongly recommend getting yourself Malwarebytes, so that way you'll make sure nothing malicious gets through. AI thinks I want to get Malwarebytes anti-rootkit separately, but that program has been integrated to the main program itself, as I looked it up, as I'm finishing up the video. And until next time, stay safe on the internet and watch out for any ClickFix scams masquerading as Cloudflare security prompts asking you to open Windows Run for verification, and I'll see you all next time. Cheerio.